Hello, everyone, and welcome to my class. And today we're going to be learning about quadratic equations, how to factor them, and we're going to use factoring as a way to solve quadratic equations. So get out your notebooks and pencils, be ready to take notes, and you can tear out a page for your work page. We're going to be doing some rule note questions in problems. So here are the slides. This is our third quadratic equations class. And the schedule, first we're going to review, as usual, and then we're going to be learning how to solve quadratic equations by factoring. And then we're going to be solving some problems. Are there any questions on our schedule today? No, that's good. Okay, so let's start. So factoring polynomials, okay, let's review factoring overall first, okay? So factoring, when you're factoring, usually you need to find the GCF, okay? And this only is true when you're factoring like this. Say you have 4 times the quantity of x plus y, okay? Sometimes you factor into this form. And then sometimes you factor into this form. 4 plus y, 4 plus y. Okay, that's another form that you can factor in. And sometimes you can even add another number outside of it, okay, to simplify it. Sometimes, okay, you can even factor like this: 6 minus x, or 5 plus x, 6 plus 5x. Okay, that's random, but you can have like 3 sets of parentheses. That's also possible. And mostly today we are going to be working with this form, but it's good to review all forms. So let's start. When you're using this first form, okay, 4 times the quantity of x plus y, my example, you need to find the GCF. And sometimes you always want to find the GCF because you don't want the numbers to be too big. You want to simplify them first, okay? That's the big idea. Okay, so the GCF is the greatest common factor. Okay, let's give an example. Let's find the GCF of these two numbers. Please put your answer in the chat. 20 and 30. What is the GCF? What is the GCF? Okay. This shouldn't be too hard. Very good. The GCF is 10. Very nice. Okay, all of them are 10. Very good. Okay. So you all know what GCF is. That's good. You should know what GCF is, or that's just sad. Okay. So now let's put an X in it. Okay. 12x to the 5th and 18x to the 7th. What is the GCF? Okay, so there are 2 steps, okay? Before you start answering, there are 2 steps, okay? The GCF between 12 and 18, what's that? 6, right? It's 6, okay? But then don't forget about the x, okay? What's the GCF between these 2 x's? Okay, now we can go answer. I'll give you a few moments to do this problem. Okay. Only uh hmm, Steven. Let's see. What's the problem again? Um, okay. Steven's answer is the only one that is correct. Any others that know this? Either you don't know or your answer is wrong. So Steven, very good job. Okay. So let me explain how this works. Okay. So basically, you're going to find the greatest factor out of these few uh these few terms, okay? So let's separate the numerals and the variables, okay? 12 and 18, we already know that. 6, okay? And then we're going to multiply that to the GCF of x to the 5th and x to the 7th. And the trick is, what is the least amount of x's? Because the factor can't be bigger, it can be the biggest, okay? That would not be a factor. So look for the least x. For example, if I put another x to the second here, then this would be the GCF. Find the lowest x, and that will be your answer. And then multiply them together. That is the answer. Very good, Stephen. Now we are going to be actually factoring. Factoring is very easy. After you find the GCF, 4x to the 5th minus 24x to the 3rd plus 8x. Please factor this into, what is this? Z times x plus y, this form. Okay, please factor it into that form. And I expect answers from almost everyone. If you don't know how to factor this one, at least give me the GCF, okay? Because when you factor, you can find the GCF. The GCF right here, I'm gonna tell you, is 4x, okay? The GCF of 4, negative 24, and 8 is 4, okay? Then the GCF of the x's is just x. And then inside the parentheses is each term divided by our GCF. Okay, so let's see if we have any answers. Again, Stephen got it correct. Wow. Very nice. Well, I guess it's not very that impressive because we're supposed to know this, okay, people? We're supposed to know this. Yeah. At least you guys got the GCF. That's good, that's good. At least. Okay. But you guys need to know factoring. Okay, there should be no mistakes right here. Okay. Do your best to look at your notes, that kind of stuff, okay? Because today we are going to be using factoring to solve quadratic equations. And this is the most simplest form of factoring. So let's move on to more harder forms, I guess. So the answer is, as Stephen says, 4x times the quantity of x to the 4th minus 6x squared. Okay, basically divide it. Okay, what is 24x to the 3rd divided by 4x? 6x squared. If you went to my exponents class, you should know this. Plus 2. Okay, so factoring polynomials in the form x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so this one, usually you don't need to find a GCF. Yeah, you won't find a GCF here. You never will. Because they're probably, actually, there will never be a GCF between these three terms. Okay? So, the trick to this one is you're going to find two specific numbers that match this equation. Let's see what I mean here. X squared minus 3x minus 18. Okay, so pay attention to these two numbers. Okay, these two numbers you need to pay attention to because you are going to find two numbers that add up to b, which is -3, and you have to find two numbers that multiply to negative 18. Okay, so what are those two numbers? Those two numbers add up to -3 and multiply to -18. Now you can rule out the possibilities. They can't be both positive, so if they're both positive, that's incorrect. Okay, because both positive, you get a positive outcome, and we have a negative outcome right here. And they can't be both negative because two negatives makes a positive. So it's one positive and one negative, and you can just look at the factors of 18 and -18, and you can figure out which of them are factors of -18 that also add up to -3. Okay. Does anybody have answers for this one? Okay. Steven, ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. Ax squared plus bx plus c are different. I'll talk about that on a later slide. Okay. This slide. However, sometimes you don't have a number before, like the x, okay? And yes, this can still be ax plus bx plus c, okay? It's basically just 1x squared. It's 1x squared plus bx plus c, and whatever b and c are. However, there are different methods, okay? If there's a 1 here, then we can use this very easy method because if we have, like, let's say we have 4x squared plus bx plus c, okay, there's going to be another method. And this one is harder, okay? It's harder, well, not necessarily harder. If you know your material well, then yeah, you can do it, totally. It just takes more time. So there are different methods solving these two forms, even though they're just one form, but this form is special because we can take a shortcut, let's say, okay. When you're solving these, okay, you need to do something like the split b, okay. I'll talk about that later. So, and Stephen, you're also correct. It's x minus 3 times x plus 6, okay? -3 and +6 multiply to -18 and add up to -3. Very good, Stephen. So, this will be our answer. Factoring by grouping. Now this leads up to this form because we're going to use grouping to answer ax squared plus bx plus c. So everybody, this is a very, very important step. So I advise you to take notes if you haven't now. So yeah, they'll come in use later on. So factoring by grouping. First of all, this can only be used when there are 4 terms. And today, when we are solving by factoring, we can have those 4 terms. Okay, we can have what? 3 terms, 4 terms, 5 terms, okay? Factoring can always solve more than like 2 terms, okay? Very useful. And then probably next class or the class after next class, I'll teach you the quadratic equation when factoring doesn't work. Okay, so now let's learn about grouping. So 16, hold on. Let's see, x cubed plus 2x squared plus 8x plus 16. Okay, this will be your answer. No, your question. This will be your question. So how are we going to factor this? Okay, we can factor it, probably. Wait, no, we can't. Hold on. We can't factor it, like we did before, like z times the quantity of x plus y. Okay, we can't do that. Because I first thought that since all of these terms have an x, we can do that, but then I realized 16 doesn't have an x, so you can't use that first method. So I'm going to teach you how to factor by grouping. You can use this when you have 4 or more terms. Okay, separate these into 2 terms. It doesn't matter the order. Okay, so after you have them into 2 groups, you need to find the individual GCF of these 2 individual groups. Okay, what is the GCF of this group? Who can tell me the GCF of this group? Okay, and then who can also tell me the GCF of this group? Okay, should be quite easy. For this group, this GCF should be a numeral because not both of them have like x, so it can't be like 8x. So this GCF is going to be 8. Okay, make sure you pay attention to that when you're factoring. So what's the GCF of this one? Very nice. X squared. It's x squared. The least x, and there's no numeral. Okay, it's 2 and 1. Okay, so it's basically just 1, so we really don't need to include that. So it's going to be x squared. The second step, okay, follow closely. We're going to put them out of factor them out of our parentheses, and just like this. Okay. Yep. And you see here, we have 2x plus 2. Okay. And since we're both like, these 2 numbers are both multiplying x plus 2. And because of this, we can simplify this into x squared plus 8 times x plus 2. Okay? So, that's how you factor by grouping. Are there any questions? Okay. So, now we're going to be factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. So, our example is already given. 25x squared minus 65x minus 30. So, this will be probably the form that will take the longest time to factor. Okay, so let me walk you through how to factor this. So first, any questions about oh, you need to copy. Okay. Is it the grouping slide or is it this one? Okay. Which slide is it? The grouping slider. Okay. I'll give you some time for those who are taking notes. Okay, grouping slide. Well, there's not really much to take down here. Basically an example that I'm showing, but write the example down, okay? You might be able to follow the steps and know what factoring by grouping is. It should be of some help. So, are all the note takers done yet? So, ax squared plus bx plus c. First, we are going to be multiplying a and c. Okay. A times c. Let's go on our example here. First step is a times c. Okay, what is a times c right here? Let's not worry about that. Okay. Right now, these numbers are a bit big. Because if you multiply 25 and negative 30, okay, that's very big. We don't want that, okay? In algebra, we don't want large numbers. Because they're what? They're hard to work with. So let's factor. What is the greatest common factor of 25, negative 65, and 30? Anybody tell me what's the greatest common factor? 5. Very good. Okay, it's 5. So after we're done factoring this, we're going to move this 5 out because we don't want it. Okay, but let's keep it. Okay, let's keep it outside of the parentheses, and once we're done with everything inside, then we'll deal with it. So let's look at this again. After we factor this 5 outside, we can, okay. Now we can continue. What is a times c right now? What is a times c? Okay, figure out what is a times c, and then we can go to our second step. So a times c right now is going to be negative 30, right? Negative 30. Okay. We need to look at the numerals, Edward. Okay. Was it Edward? Or, yeah. It's, okay, we always look at the numerals, okay? Ignore the variables right now. So a times c. Actually, yeah. Because we're focusing on a, and we're not including x squared right here. Okay? So it's negative 30. Are there any questions so far? Does everybody agree with me? I hope there's no wrong things, but I'm very confident that I can do 5 times negative 6 totally. Yes. Okay, so it's going to be negative 30. And now we're going to find 2 specific numbers again. Okay? We're going to find 2 specific numbers again. Which 2 numbers add up to negative 13 and multiply to negative 30, okay? What are those 2 numbers? So basically, look at the factors of 30, okay? Look at the factors of 30, and then you can figure them out, okay? So what are they? It's going to be negative 15 and 2, right? It's going to be negative 15 and 2. Okay. So here we are going to split this b term, okay? And this is called the split b. We're going to keep our 5 still outside, okay? Don't mind that. I'm going to keep it outside. And let's rewrite this equation. Instead, we're going to rewrite our b value like this. Okay? It still equals negative 13x, okay? But it's just rewritten. Now, Do you notice something? How can we continue? We factor by grouping. Okay, now we factor by grouping. Add another set of parentheses and then we can put them in two groups. Now we know how to factor by grouping, right? I'm sure you guys all know how to factor by grouping because I just went over it on the slide. And if you didn't pay attention, that just sucks. Okay, so now we're all calm again. Please solve this equation. Okay, use your knowledge of factoring by grouping. Okay, first, you're going to find out the GCFs of these, right? Of these two groups. And then you can factor, right? Okay, I'll give you a few moments to do these problems. Okay, very nice. 5x plus 2 times x minus 3. Okay. I don't know if that answer is correct or not because I haven't solved it myself. Oh, and you forgot something, Steven. Where's the 5 we left outside? Okay, keep that on. Just multiply it. Okay, so I'll give you a few more moments to solve, and I'll go back to the chat box, see if there are any answers besides Steven's. Very good work, Steven. Okay, you finally did something. Very good. X squared minus 3x plus x minus 3. Okay. I'm afraid to say that's wrong. Okay? It's not fully simplified. And you still have two sets of parentheses, actually, three sets. Okay? Your final answer should look something like 5 times whatever this is. Okay? It should look like this. So, let me walk you through it, and this will be the last of our review. Then we will move on to solving by factoring. Okay, so let's factor by grouping. The GCF of these two, okay, let me get these brackets good. Okay, so 5x, okay, and then now we're done factoring, right? We're done factoring, okay, and looks like Steven's answer is correct. We turn it into this. Okay, so that's the answer. Good job, everybody. Very good job. Okay, so now let's go on solving by factor. Yay! So happy! Yay! Like it, yeah, totally, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna introduce solving by factoring, and then before we go on to actually learn it, I want to make sure that what I just taught you about factoring, you actually understand. So let's introduce solving by factoring. Solving by factoring is going to be our third method of solving quadratic equations. And with this, we can solve equations greater than two terms, like binomials. We can solve trinomials, we can solve polynomials, and we can also solve cubic equations. Okay, so let's go over this. So quadratic equations. What is the most amount of answers you can have? What is the most amount of answers you can have? Okay, quadratic equations. I just taught this last class. I hope you don't forget it because that would be very sad. Okay, how many equations? How many answers can a quadratic equation have? How many answers? Two. Very good. It's two. So sometimes we're going to be dealing with cubic equations. Degree 3. Cubic equations based on the Latin root. What do you think? How many answers do cubic equations have? 3, right? 3 answers. Okay, 3 answers. So later on, when we're solving these problems, it's either 0, either 1, 2, or 3 answers. Okay? So if you get 4 answers, then okay, that's just sad, and I'm not gonna talk about that. If you get I feel silly talking about this, but if you get -1 answers, so then okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can see what happens when you get -1 answers. So let's go over the first two methods of solving quadratic equations. So our first two methods is okay. I'm gonna let you guys answer this. What are our two methods of quadratic equations? Okay, what are our two methods of solving? Graphing and factoring. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Okay, let's. Graphing, correct. Factoring, correct. And okay, this is my mistake. I forgot to clarify. What are the two methods of quadratic equations that we've learned already? Okay, that doesn't include factoring. Okay, it's gonna be graphing and square root. Okay, graphing and square root. And today we are going to be learning our third method. And then soon we're going to be learning our fourth method, which is quadratic equation. The formula, quadratic formula, yes. Okay, one more question. Yes, very excited, aren't we? Totally. Like, we're so excited. Right, we're so excited to have some warm-up questions. Yep, so excited. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 4 problems. No, just yeah, we don't have much time, so I'm gonna give you 2 problems. So x squared minus 8x minus 48. Factor. Number 2, x squared minus 49. Factor. I'll give you a few moments, and right now I'm just gonna sit here and be bored for like 1 minute. Okay, start. I'm going to go to the slide so you can see the answers. And these are the warm-up questions that we are going to be solving first. Okay. one comment or answer. Okay. Edward, Steven. Okay, so one of your answers is correct. And I'm afraid to say, Edward, yours is wrong. Yeah, it's Steven's. Okay, so basically, Edward, it's x squared minus 8x minus 6. That's very close to this and this question I gave you, okay? The form is supposed to be like this: x plus y and x plus, okay, or x minus y, depending on what question it is. And Steven, you're absolutely correct. Now, can anybody give me the second answer? Okay, what is the second answer? X squared minus 49. You might think this is a bit peculiar because we haven't really solved what haven't really solved binomials like this, right? We haven't really solved binomials like this. So, any answers? Oh, 2 comments. Very nice. Okay. X plus 7, x minus 7. Wait, no? Are you saying no to the correct answer? Because that is the correct answer, Steven. X plus 7, x minus 7. Yes, exactly. If you don't believe me, you can multiply it out, because that's the good part of factoring, because you can just multiply it out. Okay, you can check your work. This right here is called difference of squares. Okay? So, let me explain. X squared minus bx minus 49. Okay? Or let's say, okay, right here, b is going to be 0. Okay? Does that make it a bit clearer? Because now it's in x squared plus bx plus c. Now it's in our familiar form, okay? If it's not in your form, okay, just subtract something. Just add something to make it seem like in your form. Then you can solve, right? What are 2 numbers that add up to, that multiply to negative 49 and add up to 0? 7 and negative 7. There you have your answer. X plus 7, x minus 7. And there's a faster way. Okay, now let me look at our faster way. You see, both of these are perfect squares, okay? Not the negative. Don't include the negative, okay? Don't even try to include the negative, because that would be 7i. Okay, so you don't want that. So it's going to be x squared and 49. Those are perfect squares, right? So you don't even need to do anything. Look at the problem, you can come up with the answer. X squared minus 4. Answer is x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay, difference of squares. Just look at these perfect squares. Okay, x is always going to be x times x. So you've got that covered. Don't need to worry about it. And then you just look at the numeral, okay? And that is square root that, and then you can get 2. And then you can come up with this answer very fast. So, does everybody understand difference of squares? Didn't really explain it before, but yeah. Yes, Edward, do you have a question? Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally. Okay. So, zero product property. Now let's actually learn about zero product property. Okay, so if A times B equals 0, what is A? What is B? Okay, can anybody tell me the answer? If A times B equals 0, what is A? What is B? Okay, A, any number, and B is 0. Very good. But what if both of them are 0? Okay, 3 possibilities. B is 0, A is 0, and both of them are 0. That is the key to factoring, to solve. Okay, when we're factoring, we're going to assume A and B are both 0. Okay, so let's give an example. How to solve. X squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Okay, so before we actually solve this quadratic equation, please factor. Factor the left-hand part of it. I'll give you some time to factor the left-hand part of it. Okay. Yes. X plus 3 and x plus times x plus 5. Okay. Here's the problem. Stephen, you said x can be -3 and -5. Okay. And however, -3 and -5 don't add up to 8x, right? So there's only one solution here. 3 and 5. Okay. Even though -3 and -5 add multiply to 15, okay? They don't add up to 8x. Or perhaps I misunderstood your statement and then you could like explain it for me. So, now Stephen is absolutely correct. X plus 3 times x plus 5 equals 0. This form looks familiar, right? A times B equals 0. In this case, this is A, this is B, which means one of them is 0 or both of them is 0. So let's make an assumption. X plus 3 equals 0 and x plus 5 equals 0. Now can we figure out what x is? Okay, x equals -3 and x equals -5. And I see what Stephen meant. You already solved the equation. I thought you were talking about the factoring part. Very nice, Stephen. Okay. So, as Stephen says, our answer, -3, -5. Very good, Stephen. Now, let's go to some problems. Okay, so x squared plus 10x plus 24 equals 0. I'll give you a few moments to solve this problem. If you can't solve it, then just wait till I walk you through it. Okay, we'll go back. Very nice. -4, -6. I see. Okay, so now let's solve. And let me teach you a trick. Okay, this is very useful trick. And no, don't even think about using this trick on exams. But let's say you're in a math competition and speed is everything. You don't need to show your work. This trick is very good. Okay, we have x squared plus bx plus c. It's this form, okay? It only works for this form. So you don't even need to show your work here. Look at these two numbers and you can find out the answer. 24, okay? And basically just 4 and 6. Those are two specific numbers. I can immediately tell the answer is going to be -6 and -4. Okay, find those two specific numbers, and the opposite of those two specific numbers is going to be the answer. Let's test it out. Okay. Okay, because I know that we're going to factor into these two sets of parentheses, these two groups, and then you see here 4 is positive, so once we're just gonna put this into an equation, and then we're going to have to put it on the other side, so that's gonna make it negative. So, and same thing with 6. Basically, the opposite of those two specific numbers is your answer. Very good, Stephen. Hopefully some more people can participate. Okay. Edward and Stephen. Very good. Okay. Well, at least Edward knows how to talk. Apparently, everybody else either died or doesn't know how to type. Okay, so now let's go on to the second problem. X cubed plus 2x squared minus 36x minus 72 equals 0. What is the answer to this one? Here's a hint. 3 solutions. 3 solutions. Don't come to me with 2 solutions because there's 3 solutions. Probably. Unless like x is 0, in which case it's going to be 1 solution. Or it could be a square root of a negative number, in which case it would be it would be no solution. But I can guarantee that most of the time it's going to be 3 solutions if you see this third degree. Okay, so keep that in mind. 3 solutions and you can solve. Wow, already. X squared minus 36, x plus 2, correct? And, Stephen, x squared minus 36, what is that? Difference of squares. You're going to have 3 groups, 3 sets of parentheses, and 3 solutions. Very good on the factoring, though. So, now I'm going to walk you through it, I guess. Now, from Stephen's answer, we already know we factored, okay, hold on, yeah, okay. Okay, we factored x cubed plus 2x squared minus 36 x minus 72, okay. From Stephen's answer, we know that the answer, the factor part will be x plus 2 times x squared minus 36, but we can still go on. Because this is difference of squares, we can simplify that more. X plus 2, x plus 6, x minus 6. Now we have our solutions. X equals negative 2, negative 6, and 6. Hopefully that was clear. Very good, Stephen. Number 3. And then after that, the end slide. Okay. This shouldn't be too hard. It's not as hard as the last one. Okay. Hopefully more people will actually answer. Unless you've been like AFK the whole time. It'd be sad. Very sad. Negative 7, negative 3. And did you use my trick this time? Very nice. Negative 7, negative 3. Okay. Let's solve. What are the two special numbers? 3 and 7. So the answers will be negative 3 and negative 7. We're done. Okay. I'll actually go through. So let's not really a lot to go through. Once you have those two special numbers, you can basically solve it already. Okay, negative 3, negative 7. Okay. Thank you for listening, everyone. And see you next time. Okay. Bye, everyone.